Yo, what's up guys, it's Zach. Welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Tengu again, but we're going to be fitting it up as an all-in-one like level 4/dead fit, you know, for all types of space. One that you can just fit once and be done, just go anywhere you like, right? A couple of things we're going to do. We're going to take our time going over the subsystems in this one, because there's a lot of, well, I've had a lot of requests from like some newer players, like thinking about getting the tech 3s and stuff, and just maybe they're a little bit daunted by the amount of choice you've got when it comes to the subsystems and things. I know I was a little bit like WTF like at the start of it when it all came out, but back then there was 5 subs as well. But it's pretty easy to understand once you get it down. There's like certain categories pretty much for everything. There's like offensive, defensive, and then there's like fleet pretty much. And that includes the subs that are actually called that as well. So what I thought would do is fit this Tengu up, and like I say, I'll go over it not in like mega depth, right? We'll just go over it usually, but I'll take a little bit more time explaining what the subsystems do and like why we're choosing the ones we're going to be choosing. So hopefully that'll appease the guys that have been asking for that sort of stuff, and also give the guys who've been playing a little bit longer something else to think about too. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got our base Tengu here simulated. There's nothing obviously on, so I mean I don't like using the browser here because it's just, I just find it awful to use. So we're just going to search up Tengu in the market. Let's hide the skins a little bit. So there's our ship, and these are all the subsystems. So if you notice on the left here, we've got empty subsystem slots. One's propulsion, one's the weapon systems and things. So you've got offensive, defensive subsystems, and we've got the core subsystem, which basically this is the big one, which changes how you're going to use the ship pretty much. So the general idea with the Tengu, or well any of the other tech 3s, it's really strong if you fit it for this, like if you specialize the fitting for, if you just want to go to Caldari space, or you just want to go to like Omar space, right? If you fit it up for the specific tasks and like area where you're going, the Tengu can really shine. So it's pretty good. Oh, there's Ghost. We'll give him an 07 there. Right, so the core systems. So this is a big one which is going to affect like how the ship behaves. If we just show info on one of them, and then if we just go to the variations and hover over, you can actually get a quick view of the bonuses and things, which is pretty nice. And if you notice, like in this one, the graviton reactor, so you get the actual bonuses on the top, which is the per level one. So the subsystem skill for the core, the more you train this up, those bonuses are like, because the per level, they're going to go higher and higher and higher, right? So they do stack. You don't get like 5% every time you train the skill. But this one's pretty good. And if you notice at the bottom of all of these as well, you've got an actual roll bonus. So the core subsystem actually gives one of the biggest rolls as well. And with that, you get like mid slots and low slots and other little things like that. So for the electronic efficiency gear, for example, the roll bonus is a 25% bonus to ship CPU output. So if you're like mega struggling on that, then you can also fit that subsystem, right, and give yourself a ton of CPU with an extra lock target. So yada yada, it all goes into building the Tengu, right? And you can switch out these as you please. One of the biggest things like I like to do is just chuck any random subsystems on and then like see what the slot layout is, right? So since we're going to be doing like PvE in this, we want quite a lot of low slots for with damage mods, right? At least 4 or 5 would be like preferential. A decent amount of mids, obviously, and I think because we're going to go like newish bro, we're going to keep it heavy missiles. So we're not going to be doing like the 1k plus DPS with the heavy missile launchers, right? But just to keep it a little bit new bro friendly, because heavy missiles is probably the one that people train the most when they're just starting the game. They go like for Caracal and the Drake and everything, and it's usually heavy missiles. So I think we'll go with that, and we'll stick with an Afterburner. So if we're looking at these, we don't really need the ECM stuff. So this is more your fleet core thing. The efficiency gate we probably can skip out as well, because the augmented graviton reactor gives like all the bonuses, which is really suited towards PvE. So it's a lot of capacitor stuff and a good amount of mid slots, good amount of lows. So we'll get 2 and 2. And we get, like, as a roll bonus as well, we'll get 50%, 50 gigajoules, sorry, capacity, so that's pretty nice. And also getting that 20% bonus to the ship power output, which shouldn't really make a massive issue, to be honest. So let's drag the graviton reactor over. So you can see now we've got 2 mid slots and 2 low slots. Alright, next up is the defensive subsystems. Again, we've got 3 to pick from. Let's take a look at them and we can see which one's going to suit the fit pretty nice. So this one is the amp node. This is probably the most commonly used one as well. Spoiler alert. So we got a 10% bonus to shield booster effectiveness and overheating as well, but we're not really going to be overheating in PvE, like hopefully not anyway. You only do that when you think you're going to die. So as a roll bonus from this one, we get 3 mids, 1 low slot, a little bit of HP, some armor, which is a little bit strange, right? But that's for another video, because there is like armor Tengus that do exist for fleet stuff. 300 gigajoules of capacity as well. So this is going to like top up from this one as well. So you can see we're going to be like pretty cap stable on a lot of the stuff we're going to be putting on this. The covert reconfiguration subsystem, another like super common one. Probably, well, I would say it might be even more common in the amp node actually, thinking about it. So because we're not using like a covert ops subsystem, cloaking device, sorry, we're not going to be like going to null sec or anything. We're just going to be chilling in high sec, doing some missions and things and some other dead sites. So we can pretty much knock that one on the head. But that one's a really good one as well. And you can still, since the rebalance of the tech 3s, get a ton of DPS with the covert reconfiguration system on, which is awesome. So I think the amp node is going to be the one we'll get. The other one, the supplementary screening, gives all hit point bonuses and things. So I think passive Drake, passive Gila and Rattlesnake Snail. So you've got a lot of HP on your shield and you've got regen stuff and like LSEs and things just to pick that regen up. So it's a pretty good choice if you... Some of the level 5 missions have got like tons of newts and everything. So it's a really good idea to take something that it's not really reliant on cap to survive, but that's pretty niche, and also it takes absolutely ages to do those missions as well, because you suffer from a lack of DPS using that. So I think for the general PvE one, and also this is a little bit new bro friendlier as well, because it does give you like a tank bonus, right? So that's pretty nice. So let's slap that on the amp node. That's good with 3 low slots, and we've got a good amount of mids already just off these. Next up is the offensive subsystem. So it's pretty no-brainer on this one. We're going to be using the accelerated ejection bay because missiles. We'll just drag that on, but we'll still have a quick chat about these other ones. So the magnetic infusion basin pretty much is just the turret version of the accelerated ejection bay. So instead of getting the hard points on the turrets, we'll get all the hard points on the rails or blasters we can use, which is really nice as well for the old Blengus. So the support processor is like the full fleet one, where you get all the skirm links and everything. You get all the command links to use and everything. Really powerful in the big fleets. But since we're not going to be using those two, we can literally just knock it on the head and talk about the next one. Right, so this is where the Tengu actually gets a little bit spicy when it comes to like choice of subsystem, because like I said at the start, we need like 4 laws in my opinion. You don't have to, but this is just the way I would do it, right? So if we look at the subsystems here, we've got chassis optimization, which gives ship agility and max velocity bonus, which is really nice, you know, especially if you're using like an oversized prop mod, like 100mm, it's really good. The fuel catalyst, which gives the afterburner velocity bonus. So this one here, like looking at it, let's chuck that on. You can already see, because we're going heavy missile afterburner fit, this is going to be a really good choice, right? So this one only gives 2 mid slots though, if you look at the roll bonus. We'll come back to that in a sec. So the interdiction nullifier subsystem, that's again a null sec thing where you can avoid being caught in the bubbles and everything. So we can just knock that one on the head straight away. So it's a choice between the chassis optimization, because this actually gives us a low slot. And we're going to lose a mid slot over the fuel catalyst though, so do you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mids and 3 lows? Or basically what you're going to be doing is trading tank for a little bit of extra DPS. But because that subsystem is bonused for our afterburner, let's just stick a Afterburner 2 on there. So we'll do 6 to 8. Let's just round it off, 6 to 8, yeah. And if we go the chassis thing. Let's have a look. We'll see how much we're actually going to lose, right? So we'll go down to 563. So it's not really a lot, is it? In terms of like doing PvE stuff, right? It's not a massive hassle. But for the extra low slot, like in my opinion, I think that's totally worth it. And really the Tengu's tanky enough that we don't really need like crazy amounts of mid slots anyway. So yeah, let's stick some heavy missiles on it, and we'll have a tinker around with the fit now, and we'll have a look at some numbers, and I'll just show you guys what I was on about. So we got 6 launcher hard points. These are Tech 2 as well. If you can't use the Tech 2, guys, use the Ballistic if you can afford them. So that they're like nearly 2 mil each, but I think if you can get to a Tengu, I think you can pretty much afford those, right? And let's load them up with a Tech 2 ammo, just so we can get like the max DPS potential, which will be the Scourge Fury. So 392 base. Bear in mind I have got like max skills for all this stuff as well, so your mileage might vary on that sort of thing. So we've got 3, if we went for the 3 low slots, 649 DPS. And if we go for the 4th, it's round off just to 690, so it's not a huge great deal, right? Because we're all getting like some big stacking penalties now, diminishing returns from this 4th one especially. But I think like for an extra like, what we're getting, 37-ish, so say 40 extra DPS over time, that would probably be worth it, right? Especially if we don't have any tank issues. But I mean, in consideration to tank, we could actually take that off and for the damage control as well if you guys really wanted to. So that's a little bit extra safety. That'll pump up the AHP a little bit. So go from 14.6 to like 18.6 just on the damage control, because we get all these like whole hit points and everything as well. So a little bit of extra safety. If your tank starts failing and your shield goes, like the damage control's totally going to save you from just getting like alpha'd off the grid then. So that's also another good choice. But for me, I think 4 damage mods is acceptable for a PvE ship, right? So yeah, that's that one. That's why we'll go with a chassis optimization anyway. Right, as for the tank, guys, we've got a couple of choices we can make here. We can go large cap battery to give her like just mad stable stuff with a large shield booster, which would be pretty fine, I think. But I'm really enjoying like the medium shield booster, the dual ones, right? So we'll go 2 here. So our cap's going to be like pretty much dead right now. But that's T2 shield boosters. We'll come back to that in a second. And again, because we're going for like an all-in-one fit, the EM on the Tengu is obviously absolutely terrible, right? But the rest of it's not too bad. And we're going to put some multi-specs on, or some invuls if you're old school. So let's stick a couple of them on, see what we're like here. So we'll get 48 on the EM. So obviously like EM and thermal's important if you take this to Armor space, right? Because it's all incoming laser damage, which is all EM therm based. So keep in mind as well, if we're not using Scourge in the launchers, we're all going to drop a little bit of DPS as well, which we can have another chat about later. Just to keep that in mind, right? But it's still obviously all in one. So what a lot of people do for to plug the Tengu hole is put some rigs on. So if we go AM screen or AM shield reinforcer, whatever they're called now, we'd put 1, and we could actually put 2 on, right? So I know it's again some diminishing returns because we're using the 2 invuls. And again, you can switch out these for dedicated, but like I said, all in one Tengu, right? It's in the name. So now the resistances are pretty flat across the board. The AM's still a little bit low, but I think with the tank here, it's going to be nice. But you can see what cap's absolutely shot, even with the core subsystem that gives cap and the defensive as well. So we're definitely going to have to use a cap battery, which is pretty standard these days. It's going to be coming for a large. Going to be a faction as well. Like always use the faction, guys, if you can. Also, we're going to be mega short on CPU there. So we're just about 3% over, which isn't too bad actually. I mean, for the sake of, we could get a rig, right, to go. So if you guys are short like that, overclocker, how much is that? That's going to take like a lot of CPU, right? A lot of calibration on the rig, and really, like, we don't want to be wasting the fitting thing in the rig. So what I would do, I would probably spend, like, how much is this? So it's 4 mil for the overclocker, or AA603. That's about 20 mil, isn't it? Yeah. So it is a little bit costly, I would say. But if we buy this, not sure what even to resistances with that. See, that's nice as well. So right, what we're going to do here, we're going to make a little choice about how we're going to do things. But first, let's sort these shield boosters out, because I think we're still going to have some CPU issues. Right, so obviously we don't want to use the Tech 2 shield booster. Sorry guys, I know it's all over the place this, but it's like off the cuff and stuff. So I'll show you guys a really cool little thing called the compare tool. If you don't know what this is, it's absolutely amazing. Any module or anything, go to variations, hit compare. And then you get the compare tool window, and this is absolutely amazing, right? So this lists all the stuff that's available in that range. So all the faction stuff, all the dead space. And we can actually sort it by shield hit points. So to get the biggest tank, obviously we need the one that's going to give us the most hit points. But looking at the price of these, like, obviously that's like a bill to get 2 of those, which we don't really want to do. So looking at the Tech 2 here, the next one up's like 75 mil with a good amount of hit points, right? You could like drop down a little bit just to get some more, but these take less activation, but they give you less hit points, right? So if we just chuck a T2 one on there again, and then we'll chuck this Gisty one. So because of the subsystem bonus, we're getting 156 per 3 seconds, like repped. That's quite good. And we get 174 from the Gisty, right? So I think a couple of Gisties, I think like 120 mils, absolutely fine. 140 mils, fine for it's probably what you pay for a large one. So we're not really losing out too much. And I think that's pretty nice, right? And also what that's let we do is, like, the CPU's totally fine now. Because if you look at CPU usage, the Tech 2's 58, so that's times 2, right? That's 116. And the Gisty C is only 43, so that's like 86. So we've saved ourselves having to use a rig for fitting there, and also an implant, that's worked out pretty damn nice actually. So we've got a spare rig here, and I think obviously because we're using heavy missiles, and they don't like struggle to hit small stuff, they just struggle to apply damage. So what we can do is fit a Rigor rig. And that's going to derp the CPU a little bit, but that's fine. So what the Rigor rigs do, guys, especially like for missiles, that's what they're based for. They give the explosion radius bonus, like minus 20%, which is really nice. And we get a 10% drawback, but I've got the skills trained up pretty high for this. So I think if you didn't have the skill trained at all, you might definitely be struggling for CPU. So just keep that in mind, but that's going to let these missiles apply to the small things really good, and that's actually going to save some time as well. And obviously for the small frigates and things, you can use the precision missiles, which give you lower DPS, but they actually apply that DPS, versus like the Furies, which are high DPS, but they don't like hit small stuff for a lot of damage. So it just depends what you want to run. You can go like full application fits, like the winter event Loki I did, to get like just max application to everything, so you don't have to change ammo. But yeah, we're looking good. So now we've just got the choice to make what we're going to put in the last rig, and honestly guys, I really don't know. I think the cap's absolutely fine. Obviously again, my skills are maxed here, but if you're really struggling for cap, you could probably just put like a control circuit in there, if I can actually spell today. And we can actually fit a T2 as well. One of the good things about the resistance rigs is that they don't take like any calibration whatsoever. It's pretty cool. They only take like, let's have a look, 75. So that's really good for rigs, and that you do actually get like a good bonus from them as well. So that lets you fit other T2 things like these capacitor control circuits. So you can either do that, or in my opinion, I think the Rigor would suit better. But you can see we're like 0.02 CPU over, so that's an easy fix. We'll just get like a EE601, which is like what, less than a mil. Buy that. Inventory. Quickly search for that, plug it in. And there we'll go. See, we've got 5 CPU left as well. We could have downgraded the Afterburner as well just for that, but I think we're pretty much fine. So I think the last thing to do for this version, guys, is put a Sisters probe launcher on it. Because why not? And we need some scanner probes in there as well, so we can scan for deads while we're running missions and things and that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much a GG for the all-in-one Tengu there. It's actually not too bad. The range is good as well, so we got 71 even with the Furies. Let's have a look at the other types, just so we can get a base of what we're looking at here. Scourge heavy missile, so the Dread Garista, not that one, the Caldari Navy heavy missile. So we get 94 kilometer range with that. That's insane, that. Holy shit, that's longer than we can actually target just by like less than a kilometer. And that'll do still pretty good damage to the small stuff as well as the big stuff. So you could be like super lazy and like use this. I think, you know, like thinking about this years ago, there was a guy called Inglewood. He was a great streamer, and all he used to do was like PvE every day and listen to drum and bass. And I remember building him sort of like an easy mode Tengu, and it was pretty similar to this. So it was Afterburner heavy missiles, because he was always interacting with chat and everything. He needed something sort of like, not like semi AFK, but something a little bit easier to use. And I think this is like really similar to what that turned out as. The only other ones we can use is Scourge Precision. So that's the heavies. So yeah, we've got the lowest DPS there by quite a margin, right? Nearly 200. But these will apply for like crazy amounts of damage to the frigates. The range is obviously pretty short because frigs are normally like on top of you trying to tackle you and things. So that's totally fine. And with the help of the Rigor rig, that's going to be like super good. But yeah, for the most part I would probably just run the Furies to take out the big stuff first. There you go. So yeah, that's a decent amount of damage. It's actually decent for the heavy missiles, right? Because like compared to the hams, I mean, we're losing like 300-400 there. And again, guys, this is with Scourge. So ideally, the Tengu is really suited for Galante space and Caldari space, and that's because the Tengu as a whole just gets a bonus to kinetic damage when you put it in the launchers. It's just a stupid thing for... Well, it's not stupid, obviously. It's in the lore of the game, the way, like, why it's got the kinetic lock and everything. But, like, a lot of the newer missile ships in the Caldari line don't have the lock. They've just got, like, a lower DPS bonus to, like, all missiles, which I think the Tengu would really suit. And I think that's why a lot of people use the Loki as well, because you get the selective damage at the same DPS as well as having the webs and things. But yeah, I think I'm a little bit happy with that. We'll save this one. And then I think I might build you guys a heavy missile micro warp drive version with a large shield booster for the next time. And again, we'll probably take some of these out on stream just to test them, just to show you guys the work. I think that would be pretty cool. But I can tell you this will 100% work for most things. Or all the things really, like all level 4s, definitely. And I'm looking for right now, I think I'm on charge info. I want to be on launcher info. Just want to show you guys what the damage is if we use like different ammo. That's precisions. Oh, so we'll lose 100 on there. That's pretty crazy. So if we're using explosives, so say if we take this into Angel space or Mimitar space, we've got a good explosive resistance anyway, which they do mainly. And we're getting 550 DPS. Now that's obviously not like as insane as the 680, but again, all-in-one Tengu, this is what you need to deal with. I mean, really, if you're serious about going missiles for a Tech 3, then you want to pick a Loki, like, hands down, because it's just really good. Lots more damage, and really, the Loki would make, like, a much better all-in-one fit as well. So yeah, guys, let us know what you think, and I will catch you in the next one.